Well, hello, everyone. This is Tracy Randall, and I'm excited to have here as my guest today someone that many of you have already come to know very well because guess what? Bob Wright, the founder of the American Anti-Cancer Institute, right here tonight, interviewing live. Hi, Bob. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Tracy. Again, a pleasure to be here.
I know it is, Bob. And what's so exciting about being here tonight is that this is our 11th Facebook Live interview. I'm so excited about that. And up to date, we have had over 40,000 viewers watching your videos. And I know that really excites you.
And they said it wouldn't last, didn't they? Too bad. Well, 40,000 on our way to 40 million. We'll get there.
Absolutely. We have a message to share, and this seems to be a really awesome way to do it. Really excited about the number of people that will be joining us tonight, and more excited about the people that will be sharing this and commenting here and just making sure that their center of influence hears what you have to share tonight. I'm excited about tonight's interview, Bob. Before we get started, I definitely want to make sure that the listening audience, whether you're listening live right now or whether you actually will be listening by recording, we want to ask you to continue to support the AACI, and thank you for your support of the AACI. We'd love for you to go ahead and like the AACI Facebook page if you haven't already done that, and share it with others. The more likes we get here on Facebook, the more traction we'll have with the Facebook audience. And also, we'd like to ask you to go to getmadaboutcancer.com and subscribe to Bob's monthly newsletter. It comes out around the first of every single month. And what an incredible way to start the new year with Bob's newsletter, the AACI's newsletter, with great information that will impact the health of your family for generations to come. So, Bob, we've got some great information to share. I thought tonight's interview is going to be really interesting. Before we do get started, I definitely want to just do this so that we're going to be talking about what you would do if Bob Wright were diagnosed with cancer. Now, we know that's unlikely. You've been living an incredible lifestyle over the past decade or so. I'm not even sure how long exactly. Maybe you can share that with us. But before we officially get started, I definitely want to say that the AACI, Generational Health, anyone that's related to this interview, any of the products that we specifically talk about, we don't claim to cure or heal anything. We want to do that disclaimer. I know, Bob, you like to share you're not a medical doctor, and you don't even play one on TV, right?
That's exactly right. I'm often addressed as Dr. Wright. I mean, all the time, but I have to correct people because I can't have anyone assuming that I'm a doctor and giving medical advice. I give no medical advice. Like you said, I just tell people what I would do if I were in a given situation, and then they can choose to do whatever they like.
Absolutely. So we don't claim to cure or heal anything, but here's something that we both know, and those people that are part of the nutritional support community that we love so much, is that when you give your body the right nutrition, your body is designed to heal. Your body is designed to heal itself, and I know you're going to talk more in depth about that during tonight's interview. So, Bob, over the past few weeks, I guess 11 weeks to be exact, we've talked extensively about the 5 steps to living healthy that you share in your book, Killing Cancer, Not People, as well as on the Get Mad About Cancer Health Summit that you did in Atlanta in April. And each week we've taken one step and gone into more detail about it. But tonight, so that we can kind of have everything packaged into one interview, I'd like for you to go a bit deeper into each step and find out exactly what you would do if you were diagnosed with any type of cancer. And Bob, for tonight, let's assume that you were the average American, okay? That means that you're not eating exactly as you're eating now. You're just, kind of following the status quo. And suddenly you get that diagnosis. We would like for you to share in detail, and we'll dig into each one, the 5 steps. What would you do first if you were diagnosed with cancer?
Well, since I'm the average American now, I'm going to run down and get a burger and a Coke before I answer that. Not really, of course. But, you'll hear many different things that cancer patients should do first. And I read an interesting article today about the fact that just that diagnosis raises the level of how more people will commit suicide, they will be depressed, and it leads to a more rapid death. Just a simple diagnosis. So the first thing is not to panic. And that's easy for me to say, but it's something that we need to take to heart. It's something that you and I need to say over and over again so people will understand, okay, I've got the diagnosis, I can't panic. And then you need to go about doing the things that will help you to get where you need to go, and that's to healing. Get a copy of my book. It'll tell you 90% of everything that you need to know to start out with, and we'll fill in the rest via email or telephone calls or whatever we need to do. Get a copy of that, because I can talk to you on the phone or via email, but I can't do it for hours and hours and days and days. That's what the book covers. But I can refine it after you've read the book and you get into it a little bit. And we can put together a plan and a protocol that will sincerely help you. And I have to tell you that I know it works. Some people may question it, and we've said it before, because it's too simple. But we literally have tens of thousands of testimonials that it works, and it works well. And it works for most people if they follow the instructions and do things right. Now, you can't get on a really good diet and then continue to smoke and drink a fifth of booze a day. You're not going to get there. And so it's important that you think about what you're going to eat to begin with. And we're going to cover all of these steps, but it's very, very important, because without that one fundamental thing, it is fundamental to health and healing and prevention. It's the opportunity to heal goes down immeasurably if you don't have that in line. So, get a copy of the book, organize yourself, get someone to help you walk that pathway, that anti-cancer pathway. We all need someone to help us out, and then start moving towards healing and have that positive attitude about healing. It does make a difference.
So step one is to change what you eat right. And I want a little deeper. We talked about it. I don't know why I've got an echo here, but we talked about it in one of the interviews. But specifically, what is it that you would eat if you were diagnosed with, and I say any cancer, because people will come to us and say, well, I've got this cancer or that cancer, or this stage or that stage. But what we know is what?
Well, we know that cancer is cancer, and we know whence it comes, unlike oncologists and traditional doctors really don't, because they think it's genetic, and it's not, it's epigenetic. They think the tumor is the problem. The tumor is only the symptom. So it takes a baseline understanding of cancer and what it is so that you can move forward and start to treat it. And so we understand that, and that's exactly what we do. That's how we go forward, by understanding what to do and how to do it. And I probably forgot what your main question was at that point, Tracy.
That's all right. So the main question is, what would you say, get the right diet? Now, we know not to drink, eat. Well, Albert Einstein says it best. He says, continuing doing the same things over and over and expecting just different results is the, insanity. So what are you now going to change as far as your diet? Give them, if Bob Wright suddenly got this knowledge after having the diagnosis, what would you eat on a daily basis? Would you, I find people asking me, well, how should I cook this or how should I cook that? To me, the last thing that we care about is how the food tastes at this point. It's really about healing our bodies, I would think. It's a life or death situation, or at least a situation where we've got to make some changes. So what would you specifically eat? And then what would you definitely not eat? Bob Wright.
Well, I would dive into organic foods, and people will question that. Some will, because I can't afford it. Organic is the same as regular. No, it's not. You can afford it if you choose to. Now, I don't want to go deep into that, because there are some people out there that really cannot afford it. But we need to find a way to afford it, whether it's GoFundMe or whatever it is, getting people to assist. I mean, this is your life. You've got it in your hands. We need to get serious about this. And so I would go out for organic, largely organic vegetables to start with. And I know what you're going to say. Carrots don't taste good. Broccoli doesn't taste good. Cauliflower doesn't taste good. But you can make these things taste good. And they're not going to be Hostess cupcakes or Big Macs at all, because your taste buds have been changed so that you actually like those things, and you shouldn't, because they're really not foods, real foods. We need to get back into this organic food. And there's a lot of good things you can eat. There's a lot of good vegetables out there. I would eat as much raw as I possibly could. That gets old for people too. It gets heavy for people. That's what I would lean on, why I would lean on some of these supplements we're going to talk about next, because it's nutrition, just a mass amount of nutrition kind of put into a little ball, so it's more consumable. And that helps us dramatically. But you need those nutrients that raw organic vegetables, and even lightly steamed and cooked organic vegetables. Some fruits I would eat, but only the berries, only like a little bit of blueberries and raspberries and strawberries. I wouldn't go into bananas, and I wouldn't go into a lot of the melons and things like that. But I would juice these things as well, because by juicing, once again, you're condensing the nutrients down into something that goes a little bit easier down than trying to eat 5 pounds of broccoli and 5 pounds of carrots and 5 pounds of cauliflower and you get the picture.
I do.
I would do those things, and then I would begin searching, like the International Juice Lady, Sherry Calbaum, who's on our advisory board. She has recipes every day in her free daily newspaper, and you can make these foods taste good. All the way to the grains, and you can have, if you know how to do it, some fish, cold water fish. You can have a little free range chicken. You can do these things if you know how to do them right, and to take enzymes and probiotics and these things. So we're not telling you quit everything, but we're telling you to focus on the foods with the nutrients in them. Don't microwave and kill all the nutrients in them. Don't cook them to death and kill all the nutrients in them. You get the picture here. Wow. We need nutritious food that is full of the basic macro and micro minerals and vitamins and the phytonutrients and the protomorphogens and the things that our body really needs to begin that healing process, to begin changing those epigenetic pathways in our body. I would stop eating sugar of any kind. And that includes most fruits, as I talked about. That includes honey. Honey is very, very healthy and healthful and nutritious for people that are well. But it's just way too much sugar. And so I would not recommend it unless you're doing it as part of alloarborescens, which you'll read about in the book as well. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. But I wouldn't eat red meat unless I knew how to do it. I talk about that in the book. We don't have enough time to get into it, but we need to know not only what food to eat, but how to eat it and how to prepare it. And that sounds a little deep. We're getting in the weeds a little bit, but that's very essential and important as well. So that's where I would start, and then I would grow my menu from that, and I could grow it and make it taste good. And you'll read about that in the book.
Exactly. And you're so generous this month, for the month of December, closing out the year, that you've offered a 2-for-1 special on book for book or case for case of his book, Killing Cancer Not People. And if you'll go to the getmadaboutcancer.com website, you'll see that book there. You buy one, you get one free. And you've also offered the Get Mad About Cancer Health Summit video, same thing, 1-for-1, buy one, get one free. What an incredible gift to give away to family members and people that need this information. So got it, the food, I love it. And I guess you talked about the money issue. Well, you know what, people, if you're the average American person, you're going out to dinner 2 to 3 to 4 times a month. You are spending money on food that does not matter, that doesn't serve you well. I get really impatient with people when they get a diagnosis and they get surprised because the evidence is there, and we really just have to prioritize what's the most important thing to us, our health or are our taste buds. And another thing that I will mention is that once someone starts eating those fresh vegetables and fruits, when you're not the berries and all that you're talking about, your taste buds change. And so I'm with you 100%. Let's change that diet. So Bob, I know that when you come to Atlanta and you start talking about your 5-step protocol, and I ask you if there's any water out there that you can drink besides the water you've got in your book, you can't even give me a thumbs up on anything. You're very adamant about a particular water that's part of your protocol. Would you like to share a little more about that?
Yeah, I would. And this is so critically important when we think about it. People will argue that your body's 70% water. No, it's 75. No, it's 80. Well, it doesn't matter, folks. It's mostly water. Let's put it right there. And our body requires water, and good water, to function at all. The cells, each cell in your body needs water to carry in nutrients, to carry out toxins. And, we just need to get enough of it. None of us get enough of it, almost none of us. And none of us get the right kind. And you're right. I get on a plane and I go, what can I drink? And I usually at that point find the best mineral water that I possibly can. And I'll drink a little of that till I get to a Kangen machine in Atlanta or wherever I'm going. And so it's easy to put up those connections as you travel too. So for the most part, you're able to find what you need. But I endorse and drink the Kangen water. I've got the machine right on my counter too, and have for 10 years. And there's a reason behind it. And it's not just because my body needs water. It's because this is really more than water when you think about it, because it's basically the water molecule is split through a process that creates alkaline and acid water. The acid goes down the drain. The alkaline water is what
He'll be back. He'll be back.
Okay, I'm back, I guess. I don't know where I was, but the alkaline water that has this negative charge on it is absolutely required to change that negative charge in your body, because your cells are negatively charged. But when you're sick, not negatively charged enough, so they can't heal. And so we need to flood the body with those negative OH ions, split the water molecule, and that's what you get. And you also get the high alkalinity. Healing is voltage. Healing is pH. Voltage is pH. You can equate all of these, and I talk more about it in the book. But we used to, when we get a cold or sick, we drink a lot of green tea, and we take vitamin C, those things that have a slight negative charge on them, because they're good for us. They're antioxidants. And they run at minus 80 to minus 100 millivolts. But what if we can get water that runs minus 350 to minus 900 millivolts? So, folks, there's real science behind this. We're flooding our body with what it needs to heal, and with this acidic body, if we have cancer or some other disease, we're turning it back into an alkaline body. And that's a healthy body. We're born alkaline. When we die, we're acid. Walk into an old folks home. Gee, I'm an old folk now. So, walk into a home, a critical care home where people are sick. And that doesn't mean we throw them away. We still love them, because they're our parents too. And at my age, maybe even my brothers and sisters, who knows? But at the same time, we understand what the acidification of the human body does. It decays, it becomes inflamed, and it starts to break down. It's home to all pathogens and viruses of all kinds, and funguses and parasites. And that equates to sickness. So we need to get it back to alkaline. That's what this water does. So while the water itself doesn't heal anything, it brings the inner terrain back into an alkaline state, which helps the immune system, which helps the epigenetics of the body. And those equate to healing. Those are the only things that heal. The immune system, with help from the epigenetic system in the body.
Awesome, awesome. So Kangen water by Enagic, and it's a more than a infiltration machine, really powerful, as you said. So you're going to drink the Kangen water. So tell me, how much water is too much, or not enough?
Well, that's the thing. If you take drugs and the doctor prescribes 200 milligrams, that's what you take. You don't take more, you don't take less. And yet when we find something in the natural world that is healing, like broccoli, like carrots, like all these good foods, we have a tendency to say, well, I'll have a bite of this or a bite of that. It doesn't work that way, folks. You can't really have too much good nutrition, but you can have too little. It's not like drugs, which don't heal anything. But we really need to, in my opinion, overwhelm our bodies with nutrition. So if I'm drinking this water, which I do every day, I want to make sure I'm getting enough to make a difference. I talk to cancer patients who are drinking Kangen water, and they'll make excuses. They'll say, well, I had a glass of that yesterday. That's not the point of this water. For me, I'm 6 feet tall and weigh about 190 pounds. I would be drinking in excess of 1 gallon of this water per day. I would be overwhelming my body throughout the entire day with this water because I know that I'm flooding my body with these antioxidants and this negative charge, and I'm alkalinizing my body and I'm hydrating my body all day long. So I would get plenty. And it's one of the problems that people struggle with, getting enough. You can get too little, you probably can't get too much. Don't drink 5 gallons of water in 15 minutes. You could die and wash all the electrolytes out of your body. But no one rationally is going to do this unless they're part of a contest or something, which I do not recommend. But other than that, you really can't get too much. So concentrate on the things that will really make a difference in this cancer walk or sickness and disease walk that you're going through, and dwell on those and get plenty of them, because it makes a big difference.
I love it. Most people don't enough water. That the more water they drink, I hate to say this, we live in a real world that they'll have to go to the restroom too much and all of that. But what we know is that our body absorbs that water, and most of us are in a state of dehydration. And this, I've noticed with my mom, Bob, who has just come to stay with me. She was so afraid of drinking too much water, but she's noticing, that the more water she drinks, the more she desires. And again, our body knows what it needs, and it will start to tell you what you need by being thirsty and wanting that and craving that water and craving those fruits and vegetables.
Well, you were spot on a minute ago, Tracy, when you said that once we start a new protocol like this, you go to eat a lot of vegetables and you go to eat organic foods. Yes, it can be difficult for the first few days or for the first week, even for many people. But after that, it becomes easier and easier and easier till it becomes something that's rote, something within you that desires these things at that point, and they begin to taste good. And drinking a gallon of water a day becomes natural for you. Yes, for a while, you're going to have to go to the bathroom more. That's how it works. Get used to it, doggone it. It's not that big of a deal. And so we have to do the things that are right. They're a little hard to begin with. Get over it and work on it, and you will be able to do it.
Absolutely. And again, we're talking about someone that's been diagnosed with cancer. And if you think drinking this water and eating the right foods is hard, try chemo, right?
Oh, gee. Yeah. And keep in mind that the doctors will let you eat and drink anything you want, because they either truly believe that it makes no difference, or just maybe you're meant to be sick. You're meant to have symptoms and be treated with drugs for the rest of your life. I hope that doctors aren't doing that. I sincerely do. I think that they're not trained well enough in the things that actually work. So I'm not hanging this on doctors at all, because as we know, there's some great doctors out there, and some of them are my friends. And so we just need to think about that as well.
Absolutely. So we've talked about the right food. Now we're going to drink the right water and enough of it. And now chapter 7 of your book, Killing Cancer, Not People, you actually the title of that chapter is The World's Best Supplementation, Period. Now we know that we cannot mention the name of that particular product that you endorse for compliance reasons. The company has asked us not to, and we're going to respect that. But there is a product, a nutritional supplement that you talk about in your book that is that you highly, what you would use if you were diagnosed with cancer. Tell us a little bit about that and why, as much as you can, without stepping on anyone's toes compliance-wise.
Well, this is really important because you discover early on that you cannot eat enough vegetables and enough fruit and enough organic food, especially those vegetables, the things that are just so chock full of the nutrients. So it doesn't mean you don't need those nutrients if you can't eat more of what you need to eat. It means you need to find another source, and you need to find a good source. So I liken it to finding something that equates to eating, not exactly, but if I could eat 5 pounds of broccoli, and I went over this earlier, and 5 pounds of each of about 5 or 6 different good organic vegetables, that would be so terrific for my body that I know it would respond. But it's difficult when you're healthy to eat that much produce in one day. So when you're sick, it becomes even harder. So what if you could get a nutritional supplement that was in a fine powder form, and so you can mix it with some Kangen water, freshly juiced juice, and just drink it, and have the equivalent of eating all of these extra nutrients in a great form, in a bioavailable form, and meaning that when you drink it, it's readily bioavailable to your cells and within your body. It requires very little digestion. It's not like putting 5 pounds of carrots in there and chewing them. It'd probably take you an hour to chew them and get them in there. And so we like to find nutritional supplements, and the one I talk about in chapter 7 is that bioavailable supplement that's chock full of nutrients. And these nutrients, we say synergistic a lot, and it's kind of an overused term now, but basically what it means is that the ingredients work together. You don't want ingredients fighting each other or Xing out each other. There's nothing in there that can hurt you, unlike mixing drugs can hurt you. It won't hurt you, but you could be taking 2 or 3 different types of supplements that aren't compatible. And individually, they might be efficacious for you, but together, one might X the other one out, although neither one will hurt you. And so it's kind of a waste of time and money. So when you can put something in synergism with something else, or gobs of something else's, it makes perfect sense. So we combine that synergism with bioavailability, and what do we get? We get powerful nutrition that we just kind of overload our body with. And I tell people what I would do, and it's not have a little bit. I would have a whole lot of it. I would drink this till I basically couldn't drink anymore each day, because I know that I'm doing what is best for my body. I know I'm doing the things that help my body to battle this cancer or whatever I have. And so I would do lots, and I do.
And so do I. All right. Well, we're not trying to be, just not share this information. But again, for that particular information, we just encourage you to get Bob's book, Killing Cancer Not People. He talks extensively in the book, and it is a 2-for-1. So now this is the best month to buy the book if you go to getmadaboutcancer.com. And he also talks about the 5-step protocol specifically in the Health Summit, if you prefer to watch the video, along with some new technologies that aren't necessarily mentioned in the book that you will absolutely love. So both of them are just $24.99, $25. You get the 2-for-1. So I encourage you to go ahead and get this information and get it in your arsenal. So we've got to move quickly, because I don't want to take too much more time, but this is so very important, and I don't want to skip over the last 2 steps of your protocol, Bob, that you would do if you were diagnosed with cancer. And the next step is detox. We all know that eliminating chemicals from our bodies and cells is hugely important. So how would you detox if it were you?
Detoxification is more important than almost everybody understands or realizes. And we see it day after day when cancer patients will get on a good protocol, a good natural protocol that's helping them, but they just can't seem to get there. They get better and better and better, and then they stop getting better, and they wonder why. And it's because their bodies are so toxic. They're so full of heavy metals and pathogens, funguses and parasites and radiation accumulation and all these different things that basically stop the body from healing at that point. So it is incredibly important, but it's the one thing that so many people miss. I would do PIO if it was me, and that's an acronym, PIOH, for Precision Intestinal Oxidative Hydrotoning. And I write about it in chapter 9, I believe it is, in the book. And this is the best form of detox that we have ever seen. The downside is that it's only done one place right now in the world, and that's near us, near Seattle, Washington. It's worth the trip, folks. People from all over North America come to Seattle and spend a week or two with Dirk Yao. He's the inventor and perfecter of this. And I'll tell you what, when you are just loading your body with the right kind of water and the right kind of ozone and visceral stimulation, which all of these are incorporated into that, it creates a fire within the body that releases these toxins. I've had an excess of 15 liver purges in one session, and I've had 36 of these sessions. And so it makes such a massive difference that we really can't describe it in full. You have to experience it. And no, folks, you don't need just one, because your bodies are toxic. If you haven't detoxed, if you're my age and have not detoxed in your life down to the cellular level, then you're very toxic. And it could take a while. And we have to be fair and understanding about this. Being healthy, at least I think so, to an extent. I've done 36 of these. So stuff stores in your liver, bad stuff, for long periods of time. And we need to get it out of your liver, your spleen, all of your organs and your cells. And this is the way to do it. PIO. Think about it.
All right. I love that. But, that not everyone being able to take advantage of that. So if you were, somewhere nowhere near Seattle and just really couldn't find a way, what are some other ways that you would suggest, Bob, for the average person to be able to partake in? I mean, does coffee enemas help? What about the colonics? Are those things valuable?
Well, you can put leeches on your body or drain some. No, I'm just kidding. Although there is some science behind that, folks. There's some science behind giving a pint of blood about 3 or 4 times a year, believe it or not, because it reduces your risk of stroke by 70%. Think about it. And there's science behind that too. We're not going to go into it right now. But there are different methods you can use. Coffee enemas are great, and you can do those yourself. Just don't use decaf, of course. And you're trying to get your liver to purge, and you're holding this coffee in the sigmoid colon as long as you can. And it's a great way. We know people who do 3 or 4 of these a day. We're not recommending those at first. We're saying, try it. Get used to being able to do it. And then you'll find that it's pretty straightforward and simple. You can do lymphatic exercises. I have a whole body vibration machine. The best way to get every cell, every muscle, every ligament, everything in your body moving. 10 minutes on this machine, you can just stand on it, is like an hour in the gym. That's what it does for you. The important thing is it moves your lymph system. Your lymph system is a major detoxification system in your body, and it has no pump. So when you have swollen glands here or in your armpits or wherever, you're told you have swollen glands. Well, those are your lymph nodes, folks, and they're all jammed up and backed up and on their way to sickness and disease. So you need to get your lymph system working. And you can do that on a little rebounder too, a little mini trampoline, just lightly bounce up and down on it for a couple minutes, a couple times a day. It gets that lymph moving, and you can walk and run and do other things. And if you can't hardly move at all, you can have somebody who knows lymph massage to come in and give you a lymph massage, lymph system massage, and that will help you. So there's many different things that we can do. Again, we just need to do our homework and find these things.
So good. And I know that when you do change when someone changes their food as dramatically as what we're talking about doing, when they add the nutrition and the Kangen water, all of those things are going to start some detoxing process from the body, which is a great thing. And they need to be aware of that. You know, so many times people are a little bit fearful of detox because there are symptoms involved. But, you know, I tell people the only way to get better is to get those toxins out. And then, of course, what we want to do is we want to find ways to reduce the chemicals that are going in, reduce the chemicals that are in our home, really become more aware of what we're putting on and in our bodies. And many people don't think about it. You think about eating or drinking toxins, but what we're putting on our bodies is probably more toxic than even drinking them. Would you agree?
I would agree, because they're absorbed directly into the tissues in the bloodstream, and it's true about a lot of different things. If you want to get something good like a magnesium chloride oil into your system, magnesium doesn't work well orally for the most part. Some of them do, but most of them do not. But they do work well transdermally. And so we need to think about that with toxins too. You don't put gasoline all over your arms. And it's said that whatever you put on your body is in your blood in 29 seconds. So it's not everything, of course, but a lot of things are going to migrate into your tissues and into your bloodstream. And we do that daily. I mean, how many ladies look at your makeup and we look at our lotions and potions? What's in them? It's a list that's probably this long, and you can't pronounce most of that stuff. That should tell you something from the start. It's chemicals, and they're going into your body. I mean, we breathe enough every day. We're bombarded with radiation from our routers, our Wi-Fi, our telephones. And this stuff we can do something about if we know what to do, and we do with the biodots and all of those things. But we know what to do about selecting what goes on our skin and what goes on our bodies too, and we need to pay attention.
Absolutely. I love it. So we've talked about the 4 steps, and you've actually touched on the 5th step, which we'll close this out with, which is the exercise portion. You talked about a little rebounder. You talked about the whole body vibration machine, which cleanses and helps drain the lymphatic system. And we know that many times people that have been diagnosed with cancer or some disease just really don't have the energy. They really can't do the type of exercise. So just real quickly, just maybe talk about some things that you think would benefit in the way of exercise, or maybe go into a little more detail about some you've already spoken about.
Well, first of all, if you're really sick, and you know, like a stage 4 cancer patient, and you've been that way for a while, and it's difficult to get up, it's difficult to move, you're bedbound, whatever the case might be, don't exercise, because you need that energy right now to help you begin to heal. But if you can, start with the simple things. Start with walking if you can walk. You know, there's so many different things you can do. I always like weightlifting. And if you can, do light weights. It doesn't matter. And there's something called the slow burn fitness revolution, and it's easy. Almost anyone can do it. And yet weightlifting is the one thing that takes sugar out of the blood without the need for insulin. So it's great for diabetics too. But anything you can do almost to get your body moving, you can just have a stepper and step up and down, all the way from push-ups to jumping jacks to sit-ups to whatever you can do to get that body moving. Of course, I like the whole body vibration machine because Tracy, you and I and everybody who's able to stand can stand on these things, and it does the workout for you. Now, you can work out on the machine if you want to, but it's basically done for you, and you can do many different things on it. The rebounders are easy. You don't have to jump up in the air like a trampoline. You just need to bounce lightly, and many of these things have handles on them now, so you don't have to worry about falling off. But I'm still a runner and a walker and a whole body vibration machiner and all of this stuff. So I'm trying to keep going. And I'm about quality of life. God may call me home in the next 5 seconds. Okay. I think I've lived a pretty good life. I think I've eaten largely correctly, drink the right things, take the right supplements, but I'm not in control of the final hour and the final day. But at the same time, I want that quality. However many years I have, I don't want to live to be 100 if the last 25 or 30 years I'm going to be in a wheelchair or bedbound or something. I want quality of life, and I believe that we should all want that. And so we know what to do largely to acquire that, but there are no guarantees, as we know. You can be the healthiest guy on the block at 55 and fall over. Jim Fix, the great runner, died at 45 or something. He became a marathon runner, and then people started to say, see what happens when you run marathons, because he just fell over and died of a massive heart attack. But no one comments that he was just a heavy smoker and drinker before he started running. And so we don't know when our life is going to be demanded of us, and we can't control it. But in the meantime, let's do everything that we know how to do and we're able to do to try and get that life extension and good quality of life.
I love that, Bob. So powerful. And, the worst thing that I could even think of would be to not be healthy, to not feel as great as I do every single day. Feel amazing. And, we changed our lifestyle dramatically because of something that happened to our oldest son, and that made us really change some things and really have held such a healthy lifestyle for the last decade. It's just been so impactful. Sharp mind, clear mind, feel great, no aches and pains at 58. And I know that you feel the same way. So we know that it can happen, and it's never too late. So, Bob, thank you so much for taking time right here during this end of the year, this season, to share this great information about your 5 steps. And again, thank you so much for offering your 2-for-1, Killing Cancer Not People, a book for us at a 2-for-1 special. That's just awesome. Again, I encourage the listeners to go to getmadaboutcancer.com. You definitely want to know about that nutritional supplement. There's so much more information in here than we could possibly do in a 45-minute interview. That's why we want to share this information with as many people as possible. For the listeners, go ahead and go to getmadaboutcancer.com. Get yourself signed up to be a part of the newsletter that will come out January 1st. And Bob and I are going to really kind of do some shifting of gears in January and 2018. And we're going to talk a lot about prevention, a lot more about prevention. Right, Bob?
You mean the real cure, don't you?
I do.
Prevention, the real cure.
The real cure. It's time. It's time that we change the generational legacy of health that we are leaving for our families. When we have a sickness, a disease legacy that we're passing down, I do believe that cancer is genetic. Why? Because we're teaching our kids how to eat, how to spend their money, how to do things. So, we're passing down those bad habits to our families. But let's change that legacy. Let's create a health legacy for our families. And I know that we can do that. And, I do also want to say that several people I've noticed as I've done the interview tonight have asked us specific questions. Make sure that you know that we will go back over the next 24 hours and answer those questions as quickly as we can. We would also encourage you to send your questions to productsaaci@gmail.com. And that way we can answer them via email. I know several people, Bob, you might not have noticed the comments, have been asking about connecting with you. So I'm going to ask them to first send an email to productsaaci@gmail.com, and then we'll get them connected to you as quickly as possible to set up that 3-way call or that interview. I want to make sure that everyone here knows that we will take the time to answer all of your questions. I do want to specifically give a shout out to the Kangen Water people, the Enagic people. Whenever we do an interview, we always try to include them, letting them know that we're going to be talking about Enagic and Kangen Water. They always share, they always comment, and we really appreciate the I guess the family that surrounds Kangen Water. They've always been very supportive of you and your mission, Bob. And I don't know if there's anything else you'd like to add to that.
Well, they really have, and we are very appreciative. And, along with the people from this other company that we can't mention, the Kangen Water people are some of the nicest people that I've ever met, and they really care about your health. I mean, always in every industry, there's someone, even in our industry that may not necessarily be focused on that, but we find that the Kangen Water people as a whole aren't just there to sell you a machine or to sell you that water machine. They're there because they are truly interested in your health and your healing. And you can see it. I mean, you can talk to them and see it. And we don't sell Kangen water machines. So we rely on this sales force, as it were, to be able to get this technology into people's hands and show them how to use it. It's very simple and straightforward, so they can start reaping the benefits of prevention and good health and healing. And so thank you to the Kangen people for what they do. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, Merry Christmas to you, Bob, and a Happy New Year. And we will be back. We'll make an announcement. We'll be back right after the new year to start our interviews again, and just so grateful for everything that you do. Remember, folks, the AACI is a nonprofit, and it is the end of the year. You can absolutely make donations. We so appreciate that. We'd love to end the year strong, and your donation actually helps Bob be able to have the freedom to be able to just set up those three-way calls to really counsel and help people at no charge. And that's really huge. So thank you for your donations. And Bob, tell them where to go to make the donation.
Well, you can go right to our website, and it has a drop-down menu called Join Us. And it has then a sub-menu that is... well, you'll be able to recognize it when you see it, and you click on it, and you're able to join us with monthly donations, a one-time donation, or anything. It's real easy to find, not a difficult thing. We are a 501c3 IRS designated nonprofit, so all of your contributions are tax deductible, and we can give you a letter to that effect. We can give you our IRS number and all of that. So we are certified, and some people say that I'm certifiable, so it all works together, if you know what.
Well, we've put the website there up on the screen, and we'll also put the link in the comments at some point here so that people can really find it easily. We really appreciate your support. It means so much to us. Bob, we love you. Stay healthy and happy, and Merry Christmas to you and your family, and a Happy New Year.
Well, same to you. Merry Christmas. We're not afraid to say it here. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.